I have been doing games as my only full-time job in my entire life, which makes for a weird life, but I don't really know how weird because I have nothing to compare it to. But I started out doing role-playing games, and then I did computer games for 22 years. I actually did computer games longer than anything else. And then I came back to tabletop board games with a passion, and that's what I'm doing now with Petersen Games. And we have, in our past, is that we have had a reputation, or gathered one so far, of having high-quality games that are produced slowly, but they always have, they're like big and well-made and solid components, so it kind of makes up for the slowness. But we have felt the slowness too, and we want to change that around. And so, starting last year, we did a massive visioning of the company, and the goal was keep the high quality. Which, if you've seen Evil High Priest, you see that we have done that, and the ancients.
These are released today.
These are released today, and these are the first things under the regime. But the second part was to have things on time and in a timely manner, and I will have my son Arthur address that, because a large part of that is his doing.
Yes. One missing component of what Sandy was saying is that we're a largely Kickstarter-based company still. And this seminar is kind of about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. And so the thing about Kickstarter, of course, is you have to deliver the products that you promised, and on the time you promised them, and that has been our big failing. So we started to do a thing last year.
We deliver more than what we promised. That kind of helps make up for it. But
yeah. But
only kind of.
We started a thing called China Ready, which means we have the entire game ready to go to the manufacturers as soon as the Kickstarter funds. Which is why Evil High Priest we promised in September, and it's early August, so it's a month early, I guess. Although backers are getting it in September, so I guess not. But unless they're picking it up from the convention. And the Ancients, Onslaught 3, the Ancients is out now, and it was supposed to come out this summer, so it's paying off. But the thing about Kickstarter is that it's really great for these big, complicated games with plastic miniatures that cost a lot of money to make steel molds, a process called tooling, and they take a lot of time, they cost a lot of money. Smaller, simpler games like card games and other things that you can put direct to market is something we've never done, and that's one of our big focuses for 2019.
We have a lot of things coming out in the next year, and they are not all being Kickstarted.
Right.
They'll just be, a lot of them will release direct. Right.
Because we're changing our model so that we're doing some Kickstarters and reserve the big
things
games.
With a huge upfront cost, Kickstarter still makes sense for us.
Right.
And things without that huge upfront cost, why not just do it, right? So we're going to talk about all our products.
Did you all get our little product catalog that Tony right there filming us, he made this last minute, the day before everybody came to the con. I said, catalog. Tony, make this.
So we are going to start going from page 1 on through and talk about each thing. So there's the Pathfinder thing. That's already out.
Yeah. That came out a few months ago.
And
and we're almost sold out. So if you were thinking of picking up Pathfinder, we didn't know we would need to reprint it so soon. So now there's some questions about when exactly we're to reprint it, because we didn't expect to have to reprint it this year.
Well, we are going to do at least a small emergency reprint. But also connected to this is in October, probably, we're going to be finished with the layout and the writing for Sandy Petersen's Cthulhu Mythos for D&D 5th edition. Right. And then that actually will probably be Kickstarted.
Yeah.
But it'll be Kickstarted in such a way that as soon as the Kickstarter, not when it funds, but when your credit cards are drained, then you can immediately get the PDF, and the printed copy will come not very long after that, because it's a book, right? Not just a book, but it's a book, so it'll be pretty quick to get.
So it's already written. Everything. There's some new content.
Yeah,
that we
they're laying it out to make it look like a D&D
Pathfinder
book instead of a Pathfinder book. But that's pretty much it.
We have a ton of new art. So in the Pathfinder book, one thing that some backers liked, but lots of backers didn't like, was that the bestiary sections and stat block sections had nice, high-quality photos of nicely painted miniatures. But what you normally expect in a bestiary type book or section of a book, for role-playing is, illustrations, not pictures of miniatures.
So we're going to have illustrations.
Right. There's two major changes for the D&D book. Number one, no pictures of miniatures. It's just illustrations and of all the monsters. So we have 100 new illustrations in it.
The other change is that there was 75 pages in the Pathfinder book of Cthulhu monsters in the Pathfinder bestiary, just reprinted so that y'all have them all in one place. But
it's easy reference.
Easy reference. But that's not in the D&D book.
And it's content we didn't make anyway.
D&D
we just
book
put it in the end.
Isn't very Lovecraft.
Well, yeah. So it has all the stuff.
It's not like the Pathfinder guys who worked on our book were all loved Lovecraft,
right?
And the D&D guys mostly didn't. So
right. Well, James Jacobs from Paizo helped us write a significant portion of the book because he loves Sandy and the mythos and all that stuff. So he's the creative director of Paizo. So he helped us put that together and do some of the things for it. But so that last chapter, which is Paizo's content, obviously won't be in this. But we added some new material that's secret. We'll show during the Kickstarter, and then new illustrations. And we just actually spoke with, just before this, we met with our printer, the one that did the Pathfinder book, and there's a chance, because the book will be done for the Kickstarter, and as Sandy said, we'll get the PDF sent out right after the Kickstarter. She's saying that there's a chance we can have it shipped before Chinese New Year, but it's always a gamble. So we'll see. Which means, it'll be in backers' hands in February, maybe.
Also, if anyone here plays the crazy German role-playing game, Die Schwarzen Augen, the Black Eye, they're doing a version for the Black Eye in German and then in English. So they're translating the thing into German for the Black Eye, then translating the German version, the Dark Eye, in English Dark Eye, because Black Eye sounds lame, right? And then they're translating the German version back into English, for the Dark Eye. So it's like,
it is funny, yeah. So
we're hoping there'll be some entertaining translation.
Right, because they'll be translated from English to German, then back to English. Yeah.
So the Pathfinder is your first book product that's going out of print, right? Is this going to have? I guess what should come to your approach for bringing those back into print? Because I know with Cthulhu, it's been a new Kickstarter.
So
we're just going to print it.
There's two possibilities. So I was talking to the printer this morning, and I've been doing the production for about 4 or 5 years for Petersen Games, 4 years I think, and I've mostly been doing. We've been doing board games. And so one of the things with books is that I didn't know was that, with a board game, obviously if you do you can take advantage of economies of scale if you're printing a large print run of a certain product, right? But what she told us this morning is that you can take advantage of a little bit of economies of scale and save your per unit cost a little bit if we reprinted the Pathfinder book and the D&D book simultaneously, even though there's different inside content, right? Because the pages and the actual PDF files that they're printing, or InDesign files, whatever it's called, are actually different because it's the same material. There's a small savings in getting that material set up and the binding and all of that, even though there's two different print runs happening, which I didn't realize. So we might print the reprint of the Pathfinder first edition and the D&D first printing at the same time, right after the D&D Kickstarter, or alternately, because there are distributors who are all wanting to reorder the Pathfinder version, and we've told them no because we don't have any. So we might do a small print run first, and the answer is we just don't know yet.
Okay, this part's boring. We're going to go on to the next project.
Yeah.
Okay, Evil High Priest.
Just answering Trollkin's question.
Okay, so Evil High Priest. This is so one of the things we've been trying to do in Petersen Games is spin off a second lead game designer besides me, so that I don't have to do all the design, an in-house one, right? And so my son Lincoln, who has been assisting on all the projects from Cthulhu Wars on up as the associate game designer, now has finally done his own game, on which I was the associate game designer, and it's here at GenCon, and it will be shipped in September. And it is a worker placement game in which you are all cultists of one of the great old ones. But you're not, even though you all worship Cthulhu, however, you're not buddies, because when Cthulhu awakens, only one of you can be the high priest and get whatever privileges go with that, being eaten first or last, or whatever the high priest wants, right? Whatever the perks is. So it's got some other interesting features. One is that in most worker placement games, the map is like the king, and it never changes. That's the whole point. The map is fixed, and then you're doing things on the map. But in this one, the map swaps out when you're worshiping a different god. So, and the maps are really different. So Cthulhu is constantly giving you money and stuff, because in blood, because the deep ones are rewarding you, and Black Goat is spawning monsters constantly, and Crawling Chaos is insane, and you have to do this weird cultic path you're going on. And Sleeper is really lazy. All your guys are lethargic and indolent and only do things at the end of the thing.
Well, and Crawling Chaos has like a separate little cult board inside, which is Azathoth. That means if your cultists can go so crazy that they start worshipping Azathoth, not even other cultists want that.
Everyone can lose that game. That's the only one that everyone can lose.
Right. Because if too many cultists start worshipping Azathoth, he'll come and everyone loses. So it's
So anyway, Evil High Priest is here with all the expansions, and so we're very excited about that. And it's going to be here. If you're a backer, you can pick it up, and if you're not a backer, you can still pick it up until we run out. And then
for backers who aren't here, it'll be shipping in
And
September.
For people who don't want to get it, pick it up here and are not backers, it'll be in stores probably in October. And that is that. So what do we have next? Evil High Priest. The Ancients.
Well, here. That
yes, this is being demoed today, tomorrow, and Sunday till 6. I don't know when the hours are. So here's the secret about playing a demo with this. The game takes an hour to play, or sometimes less. But GenCon makes us have 2-hour slots. So if you want to play and you're not signed up, show up for the second hour of the 2-hour slot, and they can usually fit you in, and you can get a game in. Because the first guys who signed up are done. They're like, okay, we play it, and then you head out, and then you jump in, and the esoteric order people who were there, they got nothing to do for the next hour. They're happy to run it for you, right? So you can get a good look at Evil High Priest.
We've told them to try and do that if there are people who want to play, and they're totally willing.
Well, no, they're very eager to do it. Yeah. Okay, so Cthulhu Wars Onslaught 3 with the Ancients. So it's got the Ancients. Sadly, the Shanghai map did not.
It's not quite yet here.
It was shipped from China by air freight. Yeah. But we do have the Ancients.
Our two big new expansions for it were the new faction, the Ancients, and the new map, the Shanghai map, which isn't here yet.
But we got the Ancients, and we got the reprint stuff, the other factions. We also don't have the core game.
The core game.
That's being printed. Yeah. We reprinted the core game, and that'll be coming. But we do have the Ancients and the other factions. The people were piling on the Chochos and all the different things. So it's cool. So that is the Ancients.
October release for retail.
If you have any questions about them, the Ancients is a really weird faction because it doesn't have a great old one, and that's odd for Cthulhu Wars. Here's the image of the back. What they have kind of as their substitute for great old ones are these cathedrals, and they don't act like a great old one exactly, but they cost power to make over the course of the game like a great old one, but it's spread out over multiple turns. So it's not like one giant pay. And they give you, when you get enough of them, you can get elder signs when you ritual, like a great old one. And they give you the power eventually with a spellbook to kill great old ones if they fight where you have one of those things. So that's not really a great old one, but it helps protect you against the great old ones, And you're forced to go around the map and place these cathedrals on areas, the yellow sign tags. It's those. You have to put one in each of the yellow sign symbols, plus one where there's not a yellow sign symbol. So, they can't be destroyed once they're placed, except by you. And this is the first faction in Cthulhu Wars that has the ability to do a tiny bit of diplomacy, because if you control a gate in the area with a cathedral, then during the gather power phase, you get a power, and the Ancients get a power. So the Ancients want you to control the gate with the cathedrals. They don't want to have that gate. They don't get any power then. So
they also give power with their unmen ability.
On the other hand, you don't really want the Ancients to get the power. So there's that. Also one of their monsters, the unmen, their ability is that when you build one, it's free, but you give You pick another player to gain 1 power. So like you're not going to pick the guy who's been in your face the whole game. So you can kind of use that for a little bit. But so they're an odd race. They're the other thing. They're based on a story by H.P. Lovecraft called The Mound, which is a terrible story, but has tons of interesting background stuff to work with, and that's where it came from. So, okay, let's go to the next page. Glorantha, the Gods' War. We missed having this for GenCon and being air freighted by this much. And we are sad because we really wanted to have it here. But if you've come by the booth, you've seen the figures. So you know that it's on the verge of birthing. You want to talk about the shipping or anything on that, Arthur, or anything else?
I don't want to, but I will. So yeah, we missed it by this much. I won't go into the whys and all that, but we intended it for it to be here at Gen Con. It's not. It'll be shipping to backers and everybody in September, along with Evil High Priest and Onslaught 3.
So if you backed all 3, you'll be getting them all in the same time.
We do have a small amount of. So
by small amount, it's like I think it's in the single digits now, like 9 or less.
Yeah, we have a very few pre-orders.
We did almost no extras beyond what is for us. Beyond what we gave to backers, and like Chaosium got 50, and there's a few others. And so, so if you didn't back it and you want it, like this may be your last chance to get signed up for it. But we do have plans to reprint it next year, and the goal here's our plan. So you know, we are sending copies. We have reserved like 8 or 10 copies to send to reviewers, and it's a really tightly balanced, well-structured game. We think it will be a hit among reviewers. Backers will play it. It'll be a hit among backers. I designed it, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but it's a good game. One of my best. Some people think it's my best. I'm not allowed to make that judgment. But so the plan is, when we originally did the Kickstarter, we had already designed and tested 3 different gods for each faction: a war god for each faction, a magic god, and a secret god. So each faction had these 3 gods. And they were all tested and played, and it was really fun. And then we said, we don't have enough wherewithal to add this to the Kickstarter, so we'll just put it in reserve. So the plan is that sometime next year, we will announce God's War 2, and it will be the same game, except now we're adding this expansion of the gods. Extra gods.
Probably 3 expansions. One for ancient, one for
whatever,
war,
yeah.
magic.
And so you can get. So what will happen is that it'll be reprinted, and then hopefully people that didn't get it and have heard the legend of God's War will then be able to sign up for it, and then they will also get this extra perk if they want.
Our hope is that
people who bought the original one will get the perk only, and people who didn't get the original one will get the God's War, and we're hoping for a sleeper hit with that, because it really is a tightly organized game. A typical game of God's War, the end of the game. Like I would say the last 5 games I played, in 4 of those, the difference in victory points was 1. As in the winner got 1 more point than the next person in line. And in the other one of those 5, it was 2. So it's really, really close. And so when you play God's War, when you finish the game, usually you look back and you're like, wow, every single decision I made mattered. Because I won by 1 point. That time when I got that 1 extra VP that I didn't have to, that's what won me the game.
Right.
It's really close.
It's very strategic and tactical at the same time. It's very...
Hey, look what's next.
Yes.
The Cthulhu Wars novel. Although it's actually more than just a novel, because like the first part of it is separate short stories for each faction.
1 for each faction, and then a novel. And
the very first one is Sleeper, and it's told from the viewpoint of a sleeper person.
Yes.
And it turns out it's not that great to worship Sleeper. So this is gonna be out in both paperback and on Kindle, on ebook. And for Christine, is it 1 day? How long is it going to be free?
Yeah, we're going to put it on
24 hours. It's going to be free
on Amazon
So
Kindle.
that's when to get it. So if you're not in our newsletter, sign up so you'll know when you can download the Cthulhu Wars book.
Right.
Okay.
And then we'll do a small...
And then it'll be, I don't know, whatever.
So we're trying to. So it's written. It's now being.
It's all written.
Yeah, it's being professionally edited, and then it will be laid out, which I hear takes like 5 minutes. Right, Tony? really quick to lay it out.
And it's not. We're not really. we're not doing it to like.
Well, yeah, there's not really art.
Make lots of money off it. It's more like just a fun thing.
Yeah, it's just a fun thing. And
some people that read the book will be interested in the Cthulhu Wars.
Right, and so we're kind of timing it with the retail release of the Onslaught 3 products in October.
Yeah. So we have other plans for fiction. We are in the process of doing a Planet. We'll do it in Planet.
We'll talk about the game first. The next one, Planet Apocalypse.
Planet Apocalypse. Okay, so Planet Apocalypse is got bumped by the sins of China, but it is not bumped very far. My original hope with that we'd actually get it by Christmas this year. Looks like it's not going to make Christmas, but it's not going to be bumped. You know, so Happy New Year's, I guess. You know, or maybe Groundhog Day. But
probably more like Groundhog Day.
Probably more like Groundhog Day. But it is underway.
If you see the demon pop its head up, there's 6 more weeks to wait for Planet Apocalypse.
We did have the Chinese guys, like one of the big guys. Of course, there's the Great Lord Cthulhu, right? And so they said he's too big. Let's make him smaller. And we said no, he must be big because he is Cthulhu. And they're like, so I guess it is kind of our fault too that it's taking longer because we're like. Every time they wanted to make something cheap and small, we said it must be large and complex.
Our factory is always telling us make things smaller and cheaper.
We are.
Yeah, we did. Evil High Priest,
but not for Planet Apocalypse. The super things are always going to be super, right? So anyway, Planet Apocalypse is coming. It is for those who don't know, it is a cooperative game with a lot of depth, with these weird post-apocalypse heroes taking on the hordes of hell. And we are doing of all things, a graphic novel of the Planet Apocalypse story. We got an artist on it. We got the author of the
Cthulhu Wars novel.
Cthulhu Wars on it, and it follows the adventures of the characters from the game.
It's going to be
as the world goes to hell in a handbasket.
And it's kind of like, so if you're familiar with Planet Apocalypse and seen the Kickstarter, there's 10 maps on Planet Apocalypse, and they kind of create. Or exactly a campaign because you reset everything.
Well, you could, but you can play through them in order. And
but they go through kind of the story of the world being taken over by the demons from the first map to the last map, and the graphic novel kind of dedicates one chapter, each of its 10 chapters, kind of to one of those maps as it progresses from the invasion to the end. It's kind of
go to the moon base, and then at the very end, they're trying to defend paradise from the invasion of hell.
So that'll be
purgatory.
Our original plan is to have the graphic novel be ready when Planet Apocalypse hits the market, the way the novel of Cthulhu Wars will. The graphic novels take a while to put together, so it might be a few months behind, but it'll be next year.
Yes, so that's also coming. Then we have Startropolis, which is coming. It says 2019, but unless there's a hitch with the Chinese.
There always is, but we might get it before the end of this year.
And I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to make an audience member that I don't know talk about this. Right here, the guy in the blue shirt. Could you tell us anything about Startropolis?
Sure. Startropolis is a 3D space station building game. You are all building the same space station, but it's not cooperative, it's competitive. You're each underlings of an alien corporation sending you out to the space station to build modules and make money. It's an economic game where you're purchasing modules, attaching to the space station, trying to increase your revenue and decrease your opponents.
Right, so like if they have a luxury module, the luxury modules for the rich people don't want lots of other modules attached because who wants traffic going through your quarters, right? So they try to put it on the edge where there's not a lot of things, and then you I'm going to put all my maintenance module on the outside of that. Right?
What's so great?
And the other thing is you can do like the solar panels, which you can see on this image.
See the purple panel? One on the far left top. Or do you see a blue, purple, red?
You can't build anything past the solar panel because you can't have shade on the solar panel, right?
Right.
So you can use that to block guys from building in areas you don't like. And
it makes the endpoint for that side. It's great because you're building a space station collectively. But everything you do is super competitive. No, every place you place it is going to decrease their income and increase yours, or it can.
It is still possible to back it.
Well, you can be a late backer, basically. Yeah, we ran the Kickstarter, and it ended a few weeks before GenCon. So you can be a late backer, but yeah, it's probably going to be it's a project in which we started the tooling process during the Kickstarter. which is something we've never done. So we actually ahead of schedule on purpose, because if there's even a chance of getting it by the end of this year, that'd be great. I think on the Kickstarter we said May, so it's probably going to be May. We'll see.
I think it's well ahead of May.
Yeah.
Okay, so then when I was trying to describe this game to my dad, who's 90 years old, and he's not, he still has all his faculties, but he lives in the olden days, and so I'm trying to explain how Metropolis works, and he kept misunderstanding and thinking it was a toy instead of a game.
Yeah, because we're showing him the modules
so
together.
Kids can put this together, and I'm like, Dad, it's a game. You're like strategically playing cards and earning money and being aliens. He's like, what? You can put in PlayStation. That's what he's like really big into science fiction, right? He came by it from like 1940s.
That's where he gets it.
That's where I get it from,
that's
right?
where I got it.
And so finally, when I finished trying to explain it to him, I said, actually, that's kind of a cool idea. So, space station in a box. And it's the Startropolis pieces without the game to build your own space station
for kids.
Yeah, our plan is to
or
actually
adults.
The plan is that it's supposed to be compatible with Legos.
Well, maybe
we'll see.
We'll see. But there are issues with that.
But basically, it's just now this is not going to be Kickstarter. This is going to go straight to
hopefully straight to Target.
Yeah. Target and Walmart, right? We'll see. But it's just a fun thing. You build together a space station and build it out however you want. And so
straight to Toys R Us.
If you have a kid, a nephew, or a grandkid that is in need of a fun science fiction-y toy with bright colors and cool things, it's a coming. And it'll be really fast to do because it's already doing it.
Yeah, so that'll be straight to... A few of these things we talked about, like the tie-in novels and graphic novels and Space Station Box, are just going to go straight to market, direct to market, as is the next thing. So this is the very first... So this is
our first full game that we're not kickstarting. It's just going to go right to market.
Right. And we don't know exactly when it's going to go right to market, but this is the work in progress logo and some sketches for some of the cards.
It's going to be in
card
color,
game.
Don't worry.
Yeah, that our artist was doing basically in the
few weeks. He was fiddling with it.
Well, he just started his part of the project of doing it's a fully designed game. It's already done, but it has no art. Our artist just started the art because he has a backlog of projects. Our poor artist is dealing with Hyperspace and all these other projects. But he just started Poaching the Profits, and we didn't have anything final for it yet, but we wanted to show this is our first direct to market. And
this is I think Kitten Tears.
Yeah. So it's called Poaching the Profits because what you're doing in this game is you're a wizard who works for a giant company that's traded on the stock market, and you are the guy, alchemist or whatever in the lab, building their mass market potions for them. And so you're making potions, and then there's profits, right? And so you're trying to balance. You're each competing, working for different companies, different wizards, and you're trying to build the best potions with the best ingredients.
But you're trying not to have too much bad PR.
Right. You're trying to balance PR and profits.
Unicorn Horn makes really good potions, but then everyone hates you, and there's guys picketing outside your... Right.
So if you use Unicorn Horn in a potion, your profits go up because it's really valuable.
But your PR
goes down because you killed a unicorn, you bad people, right?
Same is true for Kitten Tears, right? No one likes you using Kitten Tears in your thing.
And there's some things that
you have to make kittens cry.
Exactly. So it's just you got to balance that out, and you're
trying using like goblin warts. No one cares if you're harvesting goblins,
right? But it's also not valuable, so they're just
but it's like goblins have so many warts that they don't give you that much money.
Yeah, you're trying to maximize both profits and PR, and you win by it's more of a victory point system, but each amount of PR and profits you have gives you that.
It's a straightforward, easy game. Takes like 30 minutes to play.
Yeah, quick game.
And, and then it's kind of goofy because you're combining Kitten Tears and
there'll be a little box card game that will sell. So it'll hopefully be here next GenCon, but we don't know the schedule yet on it. So
okay.
And then
the next item is the Evil High Priest 2, which we have not yet decided if it's going to be Kickstarter or not. It might just go straight to market. Yeah. And this is what we're doing. There's going to be new priests and new investigators and new monsters, but the main thing is we're doing a new style of cult board. Instead of having the cult boards, instead of having the single cult boards that are one cult, what they're doing, they're going to be the independent great old ones like Yig or Gotham Nathoa or stuff like that. and so. Yeah, don't correct me, Arthur. I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
So each of these have like 6 or 7 elder signs on it, and you combine 2 of them to make your cult board, so you can kind of mix and match and have different cults you're working with.
Right.
And so that's the idea there. That you have that there's a whole. It's not just that there's more cultists, like a whole different race. Now all those wacky great old ones, Beatus and stuff, can be in the game, and but they aren't a full cult because Glocky's cult is a bunch of undead horror. I mean, what kind of cult does he have, right? But he can have a mini cult, right? And you can combine it with Bolkrug or something and have kind of a fun game. So that's the idea. So that's what's in that, and it'll probably be combined with the reprint of Evil High Priest. And like I said, we don't know yet if it's going to be Kickstarter or just go right to the stores. But either way, it'll be available, right? And it'll be available on our website and our Amazon store, Christine, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So we have an Amazon store. When is that? Is that up, Joe?
Not yet.
The next couple of weeks.
It'll be up soon.
So we'll have an Amazon store. So if you prefer to get it from Amazon because you're a Prime member or something, then
it'll be FBA fulfilled by Amazon. So it's all.
So the Prime no shipping thing applies. Okay, then we have. Oh yeah,
we talked about the graphic novel, but there's another thing for Planet Apocalypse.
So we're actually doing the Planet Apocalypse for D&D, like a source book, like we did Cthulhu Mythos. And the idea behind it. Anyone here play D&D? Okay, so a couple of people play it, so I will talk about it. Otherwise, they're going to say boring and move on, but it's not. So here's the thing: the idea is that in D&D you have the 9 planes of alignment, right? And so, but there's lawful evil, neutral evil, chaotic evil. So my concept here is that obviously, if all these things have an idea of evil, even if they're opposed, there must be a primal evil below that, where this idea of evil comes from. And it made sense to me that the Planet Apocalypse demons fit that because they're organized in some ways because they have the circles that they're in. There's the first circle demons, second circle demons, third circle demons, and that. But on the other hand, if you've seen them, they're like raw chaos in action. They're like bizarre, terrifying things. So they don't seem lawful or chaotic or neutral. They're they're lawful in some ways, chaos in some ways, and other ways. So the idea is that this is not just a source book like the Cthulhu Mythos one, where you take it and now we have these monsters in my campaign. The idea is that in your world, whatever it is, all hell breaks loose, right? And these demons are bursting up through, and they aren't even friends of the other planes, of the chaos evil and lawful evil. They're just their own thing. And they're coming through, and your whole world is a threat. It's the apocalypse. Okay?
Planet Apocalypse.
And you have a whole campaign where you are trying to thwart this, or have your world destroyed, depending on what kind of game master you are, and you're battling these things. And then when you finish the campaign, there could be remnants of these left behind to play in your regular campaign, so you can still keep fighting these cool monsters. But it's like this big one-off campaign of stopping the apocalypse invasion, and then you're back to business as usual. You can go fight the orcs and rescue the princess again. But before then, there's these things. And so that is the Planet Apocalypse for D&D 5th edition.
So
and that may or may not be kickstarted, but
we don't know.
But it'll be a big thing. It's actually, they're starting working on it right now.
Yeah.
They've just finished up, the guys who do it are just finished up Cthulhu Mythos. And when I say the guys, I wrote the background for the Cthulhu Mythos book, and I'm writing going to be a lot of the background for the Planet Apocalypse book, but not being an expert on the details of how the current 5th edition D&D rules work, we have guys who are expert in that and do it for Paizo and Wizard WotC. They do their books, and so they know the rules. And so I will say something like, I need a monster that is able to put a curse on you if you look away from it, or whatever. And then they go, got it, and they put that in rules that make sense.
Yeah, so Sandy's writing the Planet Apocalypse design guide.
I need a monster that makes your toughness, that steals your toughness. You're more vulnerable to being damaged, and that you don't get back unless you kill it. And then I have no idea how that will work in D&D, if that should be armor class or hit points or a saving throw. But they'll work out something that makes sense, and that's what you'll get, right? Yeah. I know about armor class. I've played D&D, but I played D&D in the 70s, and my theory is that it's probably pretty different now. So that's the idea. So it's my stuff translated into things that make sense.
Right.
And I do vet it afterwards and look at things and try to see if there's something that doesn't make sense to me. I said, how does this work? And then they explain, and I go, oh, okay. Or I no, it must be this other way. So a lot of that Apocalypse for D&D. I don't know if we're going to do it for Pathfinder yet. Anyone here play Pathfinder? Who cares about Pathfinder?
We're starting this one as D&D. The Sandy Petersen Cthulhu Mythos we started as Pathfinder. This one,
when we did the Cthulhu Mythos, we did Pathfinder because at that time Pathfinder was like at its peak, and since then this kind of star has sunk and D&D has gone higher. So since we are not loyal to Pathfinder or D&D, only to the Cthulhu Mythos and Planet Apocalypse, you just do it for whatever system is the most popular. So now here is like a secret surprise thing. You were the first people who were to hear about this. It's Chaos Rift.
We have a lot of art. We have a lot of sculpts done.
Kickstarter in 201.
Yes, there's Great job, Tony. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's Office Max's fault. So Chaos Rift's the art and the sculpts are
How you doing?
All the way from Texas. The art and the sculpts are almost done, and we originally were going to kickstart it sometime this year, but then our schedule was kind of too filled up with things, so we're going to kickstart it next year sometime. We're not exactly sure when, probably mid to late year. It's actually there's still some of the design. Yeah, there's still some of the don't tell Ben. There's still some of the design to be done, so that's pushing it back anyway.
In some ways, it's like Planet Apocalypse in that it's a co-op game against an invasion from another dimension, but it has some pretty big quirks all its own. One is the map is much more stylized, and you reveal the map as you play, so you don't know what it is. So you flip over a tile, and it's like, it's a gate.
Well, it's also not just co-op.
Well, and the other thing is, it's not just co-op because there is a greater evil who is running the evil stuff, and then all the other players are good guys that are fighting against him.
So kind of, it's not like Descent, but like Descent in the fact that there's one player, and then all the others are co-op, right?
Yeah. Another difference is the nature of the heroes. The idea here is that the invasion is actually interdimensional and through time, and so it has broken up, like Earth's timelines are screwed up because of it. So the heroes are mostly ancient warriors thrown into the modern times or survivals to the modern times. So you have like Sioux dog soldiers using machine guns, and like Vikings and samurai with rocket launchers and
right.
But they also have their samurai sword, right? And so the warriors are like Celtic guys, are equipped with the body armor, Kevlar, and it's like, so you have these really strange heroes and
really strange monsters.
Really strange monsters.
They're not demons. They're like
other dimensional things. Well, there's like ghouls and witches and stuff, but
they're kind of odd because they're not demons, nor are they Cthulhu. They're kind of something different. They're kind of drawn from myths around the world that are like creepier monsters from myths around the world, like Nuka-Lavi and stuff like that. But
no, it's being designed by a friend of mine. It's a friend of mine called Ben Donges and being developed by Lincoln.
Right, Lincoln and Ben are designing it.
I have influence on it. But if you look at the image, you can see I think this is probably a Viking with the brigandine armor and the shotgun. So
yeah.
My favorite's the Sioux dog soldier.
And so what you have is in terms of the dark, there's a bunch of different heroes, but then there's a bunch of different Dark Lords. So when you play as the Dark Lord, you're not just one faceless Dark Lord. You're like the Snow Queen or Ice Queen or whatever.
Dark
Lord. Or you're this or you're that. Or
you have different powers,
or you're the Lich, and you have different You have different decks and powers and things.
But you're
minions.
The minions,
okay.
The minions.
Those are mostly the same, depending.
Well, the minions are different. They aren't attached to the Dark Lords. So you can be the Lich with a different group of minions.
Right. So you have powers inherent in being the Lich, and you will have a Lich avatar as well, who can. So just like the heroes have one, the bad guy has one, and if you kill that's the boss, right? You kill that, the heroes win. Right, and then the bad guy's trying to kill all the heroes with his minions he controls as well. So, all right,
Hyperspace. So this is our biggest game coming up. We're super excited about Hyperspace. Hyperspace is set kind of in the same universe as Sartropolis, or maybe the other way around.
Or the other way around.
And so what we have here on this page is portraits of 8 of the aliens, and from left to right. It is the automata, which are, utterly automated things. There's the broodmasters, the Daldath who blow up planets for fun and profits. The fungi, as in the fungi from Yuggoth, because Lovecraft wrote, in his mind, he was writing science fiction. And so his aliens are actually aliens and stuff, so we put some in the game. Then we have the Mendiku in the lower left, the Skith, which more of them later, the Venge, which if you participated in our Rude Mass April 1st thing, you're getting a figure of it, or you might be. And then the Zepseg, who are made of crystal and actually carve themselves into shapes that are appealing to the race they are dealing with, so they will be more attractive. So this is what they think humans will find attractive. There are aliens. So
I really don't want to see what they think the Venge will find attractive, or the fungi.
The Venge, the
fungi
beneath the surface. Yeah, but so Hyperspace is a 2 to 4 player in the core game, but with the expansions you can go up to 6 players, and
we'll have lots of expansions.
It's a 4X game. You expand and explore and experiment and exterminate and build on the world. And last night we had a game with these guys, and the winning margin was by 1 victory point. Technically, it was 2/3 of a victory point because you had 1 extra hyper token left over. And I guess it was 1 full victory point.
And it's a fully super asymmetric.
Yeah, the aliens
very
have
strategic
multiple weird abilities,
strategy game,
unique units.
But it has some really cool features. One of the never seen before.
Yes, it has some. So one of the things that's kind of neat about Hyperspace, in my opinion, besides the fact that it's an asymmetrical multiplayer Sandy Petersen game, is that a lot of these games that we play and love have an important part of it is like an upkeep phase of some sort.
Twilight Imperium is
Twilight Imperium is like there's a whole bunch of upkeep phases, but like Cthulhu Wars has the Doom phase and the Gather Power phase, and God's War has the Council phase, and it's these are important parts of the game, but they do kind of bring gameplay to a stop while you're fiddling with the upkeep phase. Hyperspace doesn't have that. Your turn, you do 3 actions in a row, so you have enough time to do a little bit of stuff. Then the next player, then the next player, then the next player, and it keeps going around, and it never stops. There's
until
never
the very end of the game.
It doesn't stop until someone says, I now have 20 victory points, and I declare the game is over. You don't have to when you have 20 victory points. You just can, right? And so, in fact, in the game last night, she declared the game over. Usually the person that declares the game over
thinks
wins,
they'll win, yeah.
Right, wins, but she lost by 1 point because
there are some
he had
hidden
cheated
victory
and
points.
got extra victory points out of the pile
Right.
that he didn't see. I'm assuming that's how it worked, but like you're gathering resources, atomic, metal, organic objects. The aliens have weaknesses as well as strengths. So like the fungi from Yuggoth are contra-terrene, that's their weakness. And they can't spend atomics or metals as long as they have any organic stuff. Got to spend those first. And everyone else spends the organics last because that just makes more sense. But they can't, And so there's other things, like she played an alien that was all indolent and lazy, so it couldn't pick up rewards from planets. Well, I think she did once. She got the
Glazoktok, or
you got the alien that you shouldn't have got.
Yeah, but they had the extra home world, so
they do have an extra home world, so they're good. But they all have advantages too. Obviously, that they can't just have disadvantages. But so what's one of the features of the no upkeep phase? Another feature is that it does incorporate some Lovecraftian races. They aren't all Lovecraftian. It's like
just a few.
Yeah, it's like 5 out of the 24. That's another feature. There's 24 races in it. So there's this huge number of different races.
Spoiler.
So the way we're handling that is that the game comes with, well, actually kind of the same way Twilight Imperium does, in that you pick your color of units, and then you put your civ on top of that. But we also wanted to have unique looking units. So every civ has unique citizens, right? The guys that voted you into office, presumably, and also
all these aliens
and
are
also
unique.
Well, I didn't say that. And also unique super units. Okay, I'm pretty much the fungi always pull the party line button, right?
Yeah.
But and also you have unique super units. So these are unique to your civ, and they're going to be like probably, I like the idea of a pearl gray, but whatever. And they're going to have a plastic colored ring you snap on the bottom. So if you say I want to be green, then you pick the green ships, and then you have green plastic rings for your super ships and things. And we aren't making so most of the common units, your corvettes, your destroyers, your colonies, will look the same for every civ. And that's actually not because I'm a cheapskate that wants to save money, because if you've seen Cthulhu Wars and Planet Apocalypse, like being a cheapskate is not one of my flaws, right? But it's because I want to be able to look across the map and see an alien ship and instantly know it's a destroyer or a cruiser and not have to ponder what it is. Like when I play Axis and Allies, the Anniversary Edition, and I can't tell if it's a transport or a destroyer, because they look different civs. So it's actually for gameplay elegance. But then the super ships all look different because they're bigger and you can just tell it's weird. And you kind of want to know where the super ships are because, or in some cases they're a super colony or something. Depends on the civ, right? But so like the fungi don't have a super ship; they have a super citizen, the rat bat spider.
Super citizen.
So apparently, rat bat spiders can vote in their elections. Yeah. But, I know those guys vote the party line. Yeah. But everyone has their, the Venge has the hate ship, and the Broodmaster has the Monitor. The Skith has the Marauder ship. They all have some weird thing.
The Marauder, the weakest, the weakest super ship.
But it's great.
It's really
so
like a weak ship.
So the anyway, so everyone has their own things, and so once a week we're going to be releasing a little peek at one of the 24 aliens, and then the first is the Skith. And the Skith deal is that there is only one Skith, one individual Skith, but he's able to travel through time. So what he does is, if he wants to do something, if he needs something that takes like a billion Skith to do, he goes back in time a day or two, a billion times. Now there's a billion Skith. It's all the same dude, right? And so they don't have to know how to communicate.
They're all the same guy.
Because
or
all the guys who went back in time are like the same individual, so they know what they went back in time to do, and they just do it. Okay? And if they have something that's a threat, like say there's some kind of space monster or virus coming that's going to kill everyone on the planet, well, the Skith that finds out says, whoa, I'll make a million of us that know about it, and we'll evacuate. And the ones that don't know about it, they just leave them behind to die, because, what the heck? It's him. It's okay. It's not immoral to leave yourself behind to die, right? So... and plus plenty more of me where that came from.
Each individual Skith usually only survives a few days.
There's only one individual Skith.
Well, I know, but each
one
copy...
of the rules is that quite often all the copies die of starvation because a few of the Skith versions stay well fed. So when they go back in time, the new ones will be full. But then who cares? We're going to starve to death. We don't need them.
They're full for a few days.
And then their ship is supposed to look like it's fading in from another dimension because that's what it does. Because they can fade their things in from another dimension, which the guy was doing that in the game.
That's a great ability.
They pop into space, and then they raid you. And of course, they're completely solipsistic and selfish and heartless because they don't understand about other races. So what are they like killing? It's just, if they let most of their own guys their own. If he lets himself starve to death, what does he care about you, right? So there they are, and they use their abilities for time loops and fugues and stuff. And they get this is a little peek at their faction sheet, and this is their super ship, and this is their citizen. So that is those guys, and it looks like we have more stuff. Oh yeah. There's the Broodmasters. Are they the next release?
They're probably gonna be the next tease on social.
They're ultimate telepaths. The idea behind the Broodmasters is that I worked at like if you had really good. So they have. If you look on the image, there's like ticks crawling on top of them. Maybe not in this version. Oh yeah, they're there. So they have these little broodlings that are actually the same being. They just are separated bodies, and they all have the same mind. But my idea is that if you had super telepathy, so you could see through other people's eyes and hear through the ears and control them, like you wouldn't need any senses. You wouldn't have to see or hear or have any senses because
the main Broodmaster.
You wouldn't have to move because those things can bring stuff to you. All you have to do is sit there in your fortress and be monstrously selfish and care only about yourself. So that's what they do. So they're cunning and treacherous, and their abilities are things like cronyisms, graft and corruption.
Usually
treachery,
I think the idea
subversion.
There's like one Broodmaster per planet they control.
They have
and then all the
broodlings.
Brood, which is really the same individual, goes out and does everything.
Yeah. And so there they are, and so they're like the ultimate telepaths. And then these are some of the the regular units for it.
Yeah, so that's a starbase.
This is a starbase. That's a colony, and the way the colonies work is kind of cool because they're triangular, and they have 3 slots in top. Okay, and when you colonize a planet, usually there's always 1 or 2, very rarely 3 resources on that planet. So you look at the resources when you place the colony, and you put those tokens in the colony slots. And that way, when you're glancing across the map, at a glance, you can see exactly what your colonies are producing. You say, I have 3 atomics and 4 metals.
And what your enemies are producing.
And
instead of like looking below the figure on the map, you have to do in all the other games.
Yeah,
so it's just
exactly
a practical thing.
So, and then this is a corvette, a destroyer, and a cruiser not to scale. The Corvette's small and the cruiser's way big, and they look weird because these are aliens, so they don't look like human ships. But then on the left-hand side here are a bunch of are some technologies, and there's two types here, where it says mind control and braincast. Those are super techs. Every civ comes with 2 super techs. But then you have other techs, which are common techs that are kind of a shared pool. So anyone might research symbiote, but only the broodmasters can research mind control. And there's the fungi. Let's see.
That's it.
How much time do we have?
Not much.
We're almost out. So if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them. If you don't have any questions, yes?
What extra figures do you have with Ancients? Do you have any like the Dark Cthulhu or anyone else?
We don't have Dire Cthulhu. We have the Ancients. We have Dire Azathoth, Nodens, Brown Jenkin. I think that's it. Yeah, we have a bunch of other stuff, but as far as the new neutral things,
they didn't send us Dire Cthulhu. We have 1 Dire Cthulhu, so you can look at them.
Yeah,
and we'll sell them on.
The rest will come in September. Yeah.
No other questions? Then we can.
I guess you have other games being developed for future years.
Well, sure. I'll tell you about one more. We got the Fakan's Wedding. So the Fakan is a Celtic monster which has 1 eye and 1 arm and 1 leg and 1 hair on top of its head. Okay, and he's super mighty and powerful, and nothing can withstand the Fakan. So this is a very simple, straightforward game, and the idea is that because the Fakan is all about being one of everything, there obviously is only 1 Fakan, right? It can't have more than 1. But as a result, he's like a lonely dude. He wants to get married. So in the game, you play citizens on this land which is the Fakan lives on, and what you're doing is you're trying to destroy your enemies' towns and boost yours. So what you do is you're making fake wives for the Fakan. You build them out of snow, or you make a cardboard facade and hold it up with sticks and say, "Hey, we got a wife for you, dude!" And he's like, "Woohoo!" And he races across the land at high speed, trampling everything in his path and destroying.
Which usually is your enemy's building.
Well, he's going to destroy the one where he gets to, where you're having the fake wedding to. But if you get more enemies than you lose, then he comes there, and then he's there, and he's like, "Oh man, another one made out of straw. This sucks." Right?
He's tricked
straw
constantly.
with a pumpkin, and then he's tricked.
He's not very smart.
I mean, right? So yeah,
because he only has 1 brain.
Yeah, but so the whole thing. But eventually, what you're trying to do is build up enough money and wealth so that you can actually win the game and build a wizard tower, and then you can make the real bride. He goes and marries her, and then there's 2 Fakans, and he loses all his power because he's just like a dude now because there's 2 of them.
I surmise it's both.
But that's post game. In the game, he's just like trying to get you. So that's the Fakans. It's a very simple strategy game where you're just trying to fool this giant monster to kill all your enemies. So there's that. That's kind of fun. And there is distant plans for a game about Dracula versus the 7 brothers. Loosely based on the very last Hammer movie ever made, which they went together with the Shaw brothers from Hong Kong and did a combination Peter Cushing vampire movie with kung fu. So it's like if you want to see a really fun movie, I recommend that one. But I'm not going to defend it in terms of its qualities, except for that it's fun. But hey, that's what you see movies for, to have fun, right? Not to be educated. You do learn that Chinese vampires Twitter like chipmunks and wear golden masks, though. So that was cool.
These last 2 games are my games. I'm designing and someone's helping me develop. That's why they're so weird.
But Hyperspace is my big push. So that'll be out soon.
All right. That's it.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.